No, I'm not. I don't care at all. Look,
we believe in the First Amendment.
if the Secret Service has to hit me,
I'm going to be honest. I need to do a video on this guy. This is J.D. Vance. Y'all, I don't know anything about this man. I literally don't. The only thing I know about him is that he is the vice president. I don't know anything about him. He was on the podcast with Usha Vance. So let's get right into it.
we are coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, from the Detroit Cowboy, a new restaurant here. I'm grateful for his return to our podcast. Today's guest is Vice President J.D. Vance.
I hadn't seen. Had you noticed that before?
Nuh-uh. I think is that a line or it's a...
Sorry, I know we're supposed to start this.
No, it's okay. No, you're
And
good.
I ain't gonna lie, one thing that I've noticed about J.D. Vance, I think this nigga is probably a Palladian, bro. He's a Palladian, bro. And Palladians are like aliens, like with let me watch this, bro. Hold up, I'm a genius. This nigga might be a Palladian, bro. And Palladians are like the perfect Caucasoid. They're not they're on Earth, they're Caucasians. Their primal name was Caucasoid, but exalted Caucasian. That isn't this. This is that, and they have the craziest blue eyes, crazy blue eyes. Look at his eyes.
Hand signals and stuff going on my group.
Like he has to be a Pleiadian, bro. There's no way this man is not a Pleiadian. Look at his eyes.
Fuck! Now I ruined everything, dude.
We had a really good vibe going.
Look at this man, bro. This nigga has probably the weirdest face ever to me, bro. And it's his eyes, bro. They're so unstarkingly blue.
Theo just totally.
It's like my childhood, dude. Something I said right out.
Not even T.O. Vaughn's eyes are as blue as
Gabe
his.
ruined it.
This is the stereotypical white man. He's the stereotypical
That's
Caucasian.
what my mom said to me when I was like, she's like, something you said to me right when I met
He
you.
just
really
doesn't
ruined
have
our
blonde
relationship.
hair.
And I'm like, when I was what, 11 months old?
Your mom said that to you?
Yeah, she's just kind of she's she's just a good grudge holder, and she's Midwestern, so she's got a good grip on it.
Yeah. My mom's a good grudge holder too.
Is
but,
she?
Yeah. I don't think that she's ever held anything that I said at 11 months against her though. That's pretty. I mean, that's tough, man.
That's a little.
Your mom is the champion grudge holder.
Oh, she wins, man. She definitely wins. Yeah, this is Kid Rock's place, dude.
Yeah. It's cool. There's a line over there that I don't think people can see. There's two foxes over there. You know who would love this place is my kids.
Oh, dude, Kid.
Look at, bro, his eyes is crazy, bro.
I mean, these are the steps people are going to, especially with this healthcare.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
I mean, you got to do what you can.
I'm like,
man.
dude, you're gonna have to put that back in yourself. You know? Yeah. But
I don't think it works like that, though, right? The causality. I think if you like jerk your finger out of the socket, it doesn't really change anything other than you have a broken finger.
Look, man.
Not that I'm judging, of course. Live and let live. That's
Look,
my
dude,
attitude.
if you're a gay guy, I think if you can put you've put more than your finger back in socket. You know what I'm saying? You can handle that. That's all I'm saying. So that right there, I think, is a good test. I think my great-great-grandfather, not sure if he was gay, but people thought he was gay or whatever, just from the pictures of him.
Your great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Man,
He
I don't
looked
think I know anything about my great-great-great-grandfather.
Well-
Probably fought in the Civil War.
He did?
Probably.
For both sides, I bet, huh? You know what I'm talking about? Huh?
Okay, so there's a database. There's a website. I think it's like an American history or Smithsonian. Somebody keeps up a database where you can go in and type your name, and you can see how many people with your last name fought in the Civil War.
Hell yeah.
And I did that on both sides of my family, mom and dad's side. It was kind of crazy how many people with the same name at least fought in the Civil War.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, like on both sides.
On
There were
both
some
sides?
Confederates, there was some Union. Yeah.
Who would you have fought for, you think? Sorry, I'm joking, JD. We're not going to start there.
I'm a big fan of Abraham Lincoln. I would have.
I'm gonna be honest. I think J.D. Vance doing a podcast with the vice president with J.D. I think T.O. Vaughn is probably the greatest person to talk to for a person who's like an official or someone who's like so proper. Like, I think T.O. Vaughn will make anybody relatable. So I think somebody like J.D. Vance having a podcast with T.L. Vaughn is incredible because I don't know anything about this nigga. And the way that he like jokes with, it's like he's trying to like make him like relatable. Cause I have never in my life related to some, like, he looks so like,
I would have thought,
like, look, I'm not trying to talk shit about this nigga, but he has a baby face with stark blue eyes. With pink lips. He's the perfect Caucasian. He's the perfect Caucasian. This nigga has to be he has to have a Pleiadian. He has to done something with them, bro. Either he has made a deal with the Pleiadians, or he has to have done something, because I have never seen someone with such blue eyes. I've never seen it before.
I would have fought for the Union. It's interesting, man. So you go back in time to like, even so when I grew up, right, the story that we told, so I grew up in Southern Ohio, and the story that sort of we learned in Ohio history and American history was basically the Union side was right, but you know, we're all part of the same team. After the Civil War, we all came together, shook hands, and you know, kumbaya. And you could even like respect the other side, even if you didn't necessarily agree with what they were fighting for.
Yeah.
And I feel like something happened like 10 years ago where it's like you have to think that every single person who fought for the Confederate side was an evil person. I just think that's so stupid.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, I know there was a time when they tore down all the statues and stuff and erased like a lot of the history. I think a lot of people would debate about the value of erasing history, you know? It's
That's
like,
a good point.
Because it feels like it's there for a purpose, and it feels like it deserves to be there, even though, like
the way T.O. Vaughn talking makes me feel like I'm just chilling with the boys. But when it comes to like J.D. Vance, just like, goddamn, professor speaking, and it's not like I dislike him. It's just that I've never seen nobody like J.D. Vance. Like, watch this.
later on in life you might be, or later on in time, people might be like ashamed of it or think of it differently,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's
it
right.
feels like it.
Look, like, I think this nigga might be the Antichrist, bro. I've never seen an individual like this nigga, bro. And look, even this frame is crazy. Can you imagine this nigga looking at you with those piercing blue eyes, bro? And in a moment of anger or righteousness? I don't even know if he's a righteous person. I think I'm curious about this nigga.
It at least earned its place in existence.
Yeah. So did you ever see this? There's this documentary on the Civil War by Ken Burns. It was on PBS.
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
like the really sad violin music. And I actually met the couple that composed that song from the Ken Burns documentary. It's a beautiful song, honestly.
Yeah, but it seems sad as hell to sitting around with your wife all day listening to that shit. Good God.
Like, I don't even think his laugh is legit. Like, he looks like look how tight he's holding onto this couch.
Just let's sit here and
Watch
listen to
this.
all this.
Oh,
It's got like
yeah.
the really sad violin
Watch
music.
this.
And
Watch
I
it. Look
actually
at his
met the
hand.
couple that composed that song from the Ken Burns documentary.
they
It's
must
it's a beautiful song, honestly.
Yeah, but
Look
it
at his
seems sad as hell to
mannerisms.
sitting around with your wife. Later on
Even
in life, you might be,
bro, I think I'm psychoanalyzing this nigga.
or later on in time, people might be like ashamed of it or think of it differently,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's
it
right.
feels like it
Look at
least
the
earned its place in
mannerisms.
existence.
Yeah.
and
So
it-
did you ever see this? There's this documentary on the Civil War by Ken Burns. It was on PBS.
Oh,
It's got like
yeah.
the really sad violin music.
Like this right here, his body and his mind is in perfect harmony right here. This nigga, he has to be, bro. He has to had to go through something. He's the perfect, like, I'm gonna say perfect politician. But look at him. Look at him. Violin. With his mannerisms.
I actually met the
Watch this.
couple.
Even the couple. His hands is indicating that he's talking about two people. You're just doing an interview, JD. He's so uptight to me.
That composed that song from the Ken Burns documentary.
And he even points to the documentary. This must be planned. This has to be planned. This is such a presidential, like, mannerism here.
It's a beautiful song, honestly.
Yeah, but it seems sad as hell to sitting around with your wife all day listening to that.
Look at this. Look at this. T.L. Vaughn does this typical like try to make a joke. It's so sad. And you really gonna? He's basically you really listen to this with your wife type shit. Like you know what I'm saying? Then it goes like
Good.
like look how hard he's gripping that couch.
Sit here and listen to all 5 minutes of it in total silence. Me and you and all these producers. Look, so my wife, who her met the couple. That
this nigga's gripping the couch.
Ken Burns documentary. It's a beautiful song, honestly.
Yeah, but it seems sad as hell to sitting around with your wife all day listening to that shit.
Look how hard he gripping that couch. Even
Good.
like
God.
Let's sit here and listen to all 5 minutes of it in total silence. Me and you and all these producers. Look,
it's like his face looks like he's at an interview, but his body is probably so used to like accentuating his words that it just looks fake.
So my wife, who her family came from South India and then immigrated, and then she was born in San Diego. Like I watched that documentary with my wife.
Like look at his hand movements here. This like bro.
Wife, actually, I think when we were still dating, we weren't even married yet, and it's like such a good summary of everything that happened in the Civil War.
Yeah.
And you get this sense it's sad and it's heartbreaking. They read letters from some
bro.
guy.
Why is this nigga acting like he doing a speech, bro? He's too perfect. This is why I can't relate to this nigga.
Home to his family.
Yeah.
And
like he's just too perfect to me.
It captures the tragedy of the Civil War.
He looks like he's hiding something.
Wife made this point actually a few years ago. She was like, if you showed that
or maybe that's how he is. I don't even know. But
documentary, maybe not now, but like at the height of the woke thing, so call it 2021. You showed that documentary in 2021, there are a lot of things they would try to cancel Ken Burns over. Because like a Confederate soldier wrote a letter home, and it's sad and it's tragic, and you try to empathize with that person, and that wasn't okay in 2021. Yeah. And I think that's actually one of the best things that's happened in the country the last few years is people are just done filtering themselves,
right?
And they're done like being canceled or being afraid to say what's on their mind.
Yeah,
like that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. Dude, I'll tell you this: I heard that Frederick Douglass. I heard Frederick Douglass was gay. And I'll tell you, I swear.
Who told you?
Hey, Gemini, was Frederick Douglass gay?
There's no definitive historical evidence.
He was married twice. Whoa, what? Okay, bro.
I've heard it from probably almost 15, not 15 people. I've heard it from 4 people.
Where do you go to find the people who tell you that Frederick Douglass is gay? It must,
Look, I'll tell you this.
You must hang out more interesting places than
it wasn't white people that told me.
Really?
So
okay.
Out of the gate, I have given it a little bit more credibility, and that's why he wanted to free all those men because he was having trouble meeting anybody.
Is that right?
Everybody was at work.
That's I'm gonna talk.
This was supposed to be a joke. It's a joke. Okay.
J.D. Vance, congratulations, dude. Congratulations.
Oh, man. We're going to talk to the Smithsonian about putting up an exhibit on that. And Theo Vaughn, you can be the narrator for this new this new understanding of the history of Frederick Douglass.
Dude, no, congratulations.
You have such a dry sense of humor that sometimes you say something to me and I'm like, was he screwing with me or was he actually being serious?
But when you think about it, though, he seemed awfully particular about getting them fellas off work early.
I think so. Probably not for the reasons you're suggesting, but
I just said I don't know. And if he was, then more power to him, dude. I think we need. I don't know. I'm not gonna. It's just getting worse for me. You're still good. Congratulations, man, on being vice president.
Thanks, man. That's awesome.
That's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just can't even. I can believe it, but it's just like.
I can't.
You can't?
No, man. It's crazy.
What about that first night? The first night you won, what did y'all do? Y'all get high? Y'all didn't get high. I know.
If I did, I wouldn't say it for public consumption. No,
dude,
I did not get high. I did not get. I mean, I did have a fair amount to drink that night.
Hell yeah, dude! Dude,
but
first time I stayed at a Hampton Inn that had 2 beds, there's double beds in one room. We fucking hit
you got to find an excuse to celebrate whenever one arises. But
take us down that night.
Okay, all right. Here's what happened. So we're in Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so first of all, we had a puppy about 18 months ago. Okay. And I didn't even think about it, but the puppy's birthday is November the 5th. which happens to be the day of the election. So our puppy's first birthday is November the 5th. So we're at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has his chef send our dog a birthday cake. And I'm so nervous. I'm thinking about the election results, and I'm trying to get, I'm calling my guys up and saying, oh, do we have any early returns? Like, what's going on? And this like rice dog birthday cake shows up at Mar-a-Lago, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? The president, it's interesting. He compartmentalizes things very well. So he just doesn't get like really stressed out. He's very stoic about everything, right? Whereas I was a little bit more nervous. So anyway, so polls close. I'm sitting there with like my wife and all my best friends from back home come down to Mar-a-Lago to watch, except for my one buddy, Nate. I
think I'm warming up to this nigga, bro.
We'll give him crap because Nate couldn't make the trip.
Why?
He couldn't make the trip, man. He had to take care of his kid or something like that. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. Love
Put
Nate.
his kid in a van, dude. You have to go to that.
And do what with her?
Huh? Pay the valet.
Man, he grips that couch real hard.
Help out. I don't know.
Wait, pause. Damn, I'm talking about the vice president.
Anyway,
I don't know him. Go on,
trust
sir.
me. Nate's a good dude. Nate's a good dude. He's a fan of yours, actually.
Oh, give him a hug for me.
So we're watching the election returns, and I'm getting updates because it's crazy, dude. There's a whole data apparatus that is feeding information into the central campaign. So like whatever the media is reporting on, we're like 15 minutes ahead of time. And we're asking questions like, oh, I'll never forget this. There's this one little county in Indiana that produced election results early. And we were like, oh my God, we did so much better in that county than we did in 2020 or even 2016. Yeah. And so that's a pretty good sign. And what happened is as these counties trickle in, you realize we're doing way better than we did even in 2016. Like, oh my God.
This nigga had to be in UIL. I think all these niggas that was in prison had to be in UIL because that's what I had to. These hand movements, I suck at it. Like if I'm telling you a story, like I'm good at it now, but as a kid, I was trash. I was horrible at it. Now you might probably be saying, "Oh, then what was it like in the beginning?" I'm not used to him. Like it's too perfect. Like this, like that. The way he like. I want to get a feel for this nigga, bro. Like who is this nigga? Who is J.D. Vance? And he looks too perfect for me. He's perfect. Like
Donald Trump's going to be the president, and I'm going to be the vice president of the United States, and that was nuts. And I was there.
He's perfect. Stark blue eyes. He's called whatever race he is. Like, in the way he
with
gesticulates. Wait, is that actually a word? Hey, Gemini, is gesticulate a word?
Yes, gesticulate is a word. It means to use dramatic gestures to emphasize what you're saying.
I'm going to be honest on my soul. I have never heard that word a day in my life. I thought I made that shit up, bro, and it was actually a fucking word. I'm a genius, bro.
What'd you do? Did you put your hands in your pockets, or what'd you even do?
I don't know what I did with my hands, man. It was like Talladega Nights, right? I'm just not sure what to do with my hands all night. So we go over to the hotel where they're doing like the victory celebration, and I'm there with like Don Jr. and Tucker Carlson and a few other people who are sort of in the world of politics. And they called Pennsylvania, and I didn't realize that. Like the TV called Pennsylvania, and I didn't realize that. I was just talking to my wife, and the crowd goes wild. So you hear people cheering, and I'm like, "What the hell happened?" And I look over the TV, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's official!" And that was one of the craziest moments.
God,
yeah. The feeling at that moment, one, it was incredible, but then you have this overwhelming sense of like, "Oh my God, we're the dog that caught the car, right?" And now you have to do a good job. Yeah. And it's not like some random job. It's like a really important job. And so I just had this kind of sense of, oh my God, this is real now.
Well, you're moving to another class of society. I mean, shit, your dog used to getting cakes for his birthday now. You know what I'm saying? Like things are changing, man. Do you stay?
Bro, he is it's a pet. He's gripping the couch too hard.
Where do you stay at? Because if the president stays in the White House, where do you stay at?
Yeah, so you should come visit. You have an open invitation. The president actually gives me crap about this because he says, sometimes I think you have a nicer house than I do. We stay at a place we call the VPR, the Vice President's Residence, but it's in the Naval Observatory. So we've got like probably 40 or so acres of completely private space.
In an observatory?
Yeah, and
Damn, you could be
across
damn
the
Peeping
street.
Tom,
yeah,
huh?
That's right.
Bro,
No,
bring
absolutely
me
not.
in, dude.
Peeping Tom on stars and
Dude, I got a small ladder. I'll set that whole neighborhood
That's
ablaze.
a picture of our house.
Dude, nobody will buy a new bra in that neighborhood without me knowing it, dude. I swear to God, brother.
The telescopes are pointed towards the stars, Theo.
Hey, wait.
Like his fingertips are turning white. Why is he gripping the couch that hard? Why is he gripping the couch that hard? Why? Who? Why? Look, listen. When a white person is holding something hard, the blood moves away from it because the force is pushing upon the veins. You get what I'm trying to say? Why is he pushing on the couch so hard? What is he hiding? What is he hiding?
But anyway, so we live there.
Look, you see, look, this hand is fluid, but this one is, look,
We got 3 little kids and, like I said, a dog.
look. I must be tripping. I have to be
And,
tripping.
It's very cool. So we did actually. So a couple weeks ago, the president invited me and my wife. We had I think it was my stepmom was in town, and the president invited me and my wife to stay in the Lincoln bedroom. And I was like, oh, that's like really cool. Of course, I want to go stay at the Lincoln bedroom. So apparently, though, a vice president had never stayed at the White House with the president before, and so the Secret Service wasn't totally sure what to do because they didn't have like the processes. But yeah, we went to the White House. We stayed at the Lincoln bedroom.
Did y'all
And
stay up late?
we did actually, but because it was kind of scary, right? I mean, you're like laying in the room. There's a desk where, the president's like, that's the desk where Lincoln wrote the Emancipation Proclamation. Like, I thought it would be cooler and more fun, but you're kind of just laying in there and it's like, there are ghosts. Feels like there's ghosts everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just a kind of a creepy feeling to be in the literal bedroom of Abraham Lincoln. I mean, you think about it. That dude went to the Ford's Theater to go see a play, left that room, but
Yeah.
never came back. Right? That's
Oof.
that's creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
Speaking of Frederick Douglass,
Yeah, and yeah.
we've come full circle.
Look, I'll just say this. There's photos when he was signing that. You saw Frederick in the distance, just biggest
Just really
smile,
happy, biggest smile.
biggest smile in the joint.
Like, bro, like.
So, damn, you slept. So you might be the first vice president that ever slept in the White House.
That's what they told us. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's maybe it had happened like 30 years ago, but
Did y'all stay up late with the Trumps and watch a movie or anything? Or like, what did you got? Play a game or anything?
so the White House is a movie theater. The president was busy, but my wife and I went and watched Gladiator 2 in the White House movie theater. That's right.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. It wasn't as good as Gladiator 1, I thought. That's just one man's opinion.
Yeah, but it's way better when you're the vice president watching.
Yeah,
it.
that's right. In the White in the White House movie theater.
Oh, dude, it's shitty. But if you're the vice president watching it, when you get
Okay, now this feels like a real ass laugh. Every other laugh before this laugh I wouldn't even say force, but like I think he was just doing it because he had
to
to.
the end of the movie,
And look,
you're
watch
still the
this.
vice
Yeah,
president.
you're still
Look, he was watch this.
to see a play, left that room, but
Yeah.
never came back, right? That's
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. In the White House. It was Gladiator 1. In the White House movie, one man's opinion.
Yeah, but it's way better when you're the
Watch
vice
this
president
laugh.
watching.
Yeah,
it.
that's right. In the White in the White House movie theater.
He wasn't even gripping the couch that hard. He wasn't. I think that's an actual laugh. I think J.D. Vance has immense pride in himself that he has become the vice president, and I could understand it. I honestly believe if you glaze J.D. Vance for being the vice president, he'll become real to me. He'll become real, and he's ambitious. I think this man is really ambitious. Like he's
Oh, dude.
look, his fingers didn't turn white.
It's shitty, but if you're the vice president watching it, when you get to the end of the movie, you're still the vice
yeah,
president.
you're still the
See that laugh? Look, that was. I think this was a real ass laugh.
vice president.
So that's pretty
right.
dope,
Yeah.
dude.
I ain't gonna lie, T.O. Vaughn a real ass nigga. Every time a nigga that I don't really understand or really like J.D. Vance is he's too perfect. T.O. Vaughn does whatever he has something in him. He's so exemplary when he does it. He tears all down that perfection and look at him now. Look at T.O. Vaughn is so perfect, bro. Like he's immaculate at what he does.
That's right. So yeah, we stayed up late, watched a movie. The food's really good. So there's like a fancy chef at the White House. I mean, it's the White
And he
House. of
stays
course
up all
there
night?
is. Well, I don't know how late he stays, but if you order anything at any time of night, they will just bring it to you.
Oh my
So
god,
it's
I
pretty
gotta
cool.
get there. thankfully, at least we're at Kid Rock's bar. So, so I was like,
right.
I'm headed in a good direction. We are at Kid Rock's restaurant. I do want to say that it's a new restaurant. Well, it's a refinement of Joe Muir Seafood, which is a famous restaurant in Nashville, and he graced us by letting us have this room here to do this.
Okay.
So I want to
Thank you, Bob Ritchie, also known as Kid Rock, for letting us have this beautiful space. He told me it had only been open for 2 days.
Really?
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was here at a freaking welcoming party or something. I think I was here last night.
Nice.
What the dude? I was freaking in here last night.
You're the welcoming party, which was last night because it's only been open for 2 days. It's good. So how was the food?
The food, I will say this actually. There's steaks that they have these little bitty mushrooms, and I feel like they were, I don't want to say this out loud, but they were too young to be picked or whatever. But it was really good. It's
good?
Really, really good.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, bro?
Open for 2 days. It's good. So how was the food?
The food, I will say this actually. There's steaks that they have these little bitty mushrooms, and I feel like they were, I don't want to say this out loud, but they were too young to be picked or whatever.
This is why this nigga is the greatest nigga alive. Well, he's not the greatest nigga alive. I'm not even a big fan of him, but every time I see him, he has a way of talking that makes me be like, really, nigga? It's funny, but like, really, nigga? Really? Like, and the fact he's doing it in front of the fucking vice president, like.
But it was really good.
It's good?
Really, really good.
I had high
gotta ask you.
expectations. Okay.
We
Yeah.
have you
All
here. Elon just hit the airwaves today. Bring it up,
man.
dude.
Oh, man.
The fucking shit missile is in the cannon.
Okay. Wow.
Elon Musk, time to drop the really big bomb, right? And I thought this was going to be on Iran.
So it's funny. I haven't even seen.
Right?
I haven't even seen this
Bro,
one.
But he goes,
this nigga talking about, I thought this one was gonna be on Iran. Like, bro, the fact he's doing that in front, like when normal people who not confident in themselves, they put on a show. I think T.O. Vaughn is like that with. I think this nigga would be like that with God himself. T.O. Vaughn is so real to me, and the fact that he's doing that with J.D. Vance, the vice president, right here. And he's saying, listen, viewer, he's talking. It's like he's a normal ass guy. Cause to me, I've never heard of J.D. Vance. Even when I did see him doing when he won the position, every time I see this nigga, he's not real. He's not real.
Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Nice signature from a South African DJT.
Man. Well, so just so your audience is aware, when is this going to air? Like tomorrow or 2 days from now?
45 minutes. Airing now, dude. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
no.
Presumably, when this comes out, people are going to know more about this than even I do,
will.
because
I just learned about
this. Kind of happened on the plane when I was coming on down here. Okay,
I agree.
Look,
this is new.
Here's my basic reaction to like all this stuff is look. First of all, absolutely not. Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, the guy is whatever the Democrats and the media says about him. That's totally BS. Here's my basic read on it. First of all, I'm the vice president to President Trump. My loyalties are always going to be with the president. And I think
the only time this nigga seemed real to me was when he was talking about when he became the vice president. That laugh he did, and when he talks about Trump. Everything else, this nigga was, he looks like, even, he does not, this is the only nigga in my life that, I think I'm right. He has to be something, bro. This nigga's not human, bro.
I think that Elon, he's an incredible entrepreneur. He's actually done, I think Doge was really good. This sort of effort to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in our country was really good. And look, man, I'm always going to be loyal to the president, and I hope that eventually Elon kind of comes back into the fold. Maybe that's not possible now because he's gone so nuclear.
Well,
but I hope it is, man.
His
because
feelings are hurt. Why though? Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I think number one, Elon's new to politics, right? So his businesses are being attacked nonstop. They're literally like firebombing some of his cars. And by the way, we're looking into a lot of this stuff. I mean, some of that stuff we're looking into is an act of terrorism.
Yeah.
At the Department of Justice, because I think it is an act of terrorism. So I think part of it is this guy got into politics and has suffered a lot for it. But I mean, and I get the frustration there, and I get the frustration that, I mean, look, Congress, you got the spending bill. But the main purpose of the bill is not actually spending or cutting spending, though it does cut a lot of spending. The main purpose of the bill is to prevent the biggest tax increase. But I understand, like, it's a good bill. It's not a perfect bill. Like, the process in D.C., if you're a business leader, you probably get frustrated with that process because it's more, bureaucratic. It's more slow moving.
Yeah.
So I think there's just some frustrations there. But I really, man, I think it's a huge mistake for him to go after the president like that. And I think that if he and the president are in some blood feud, most importantly, it's going to be bad for the country. But I don't think it's going to be good for Elon either.
But Elon, like, did Doge, first of all, my first thought was that it's a ruse, right? Because there's a lot of times where the media will put out a ruse, or they'll use somebody like, I think the Diddy thing is a ruse. Like, it's like, hey, like, diverse communities, stay busy with this shit while we, like, move all these chess pieces, right? Sometimes that's what I feel like it is. And maybe I'm like a pervert or whatever, sorry, or weird guy, sorry. But this has nothing to do with that.
No.
But I'm
not a pervert. Maybe you're a weird guy. You're not a pervert. I think you're a good dude.
I appreciate that, dude. But anyway, what I was saying was,
But that Diddy thing, man, is it true they found not to play into this, but I read somewhere that they found like bottles and bottles and bottles. Maybe you told me this. I don't know. Somebody told bottles and bottles of like baby oil, but that had like drugs in it.
Bring that up. Was they doping up?
Is that real or is that just something I heard on the internet? Because sometimes you hear stuff on the internet that's not true.
Well, here's what
most of it is. Most of the stuff you hear on the internet.
What defense would you have? Like babies that are addicted to dirty oil?
Yeah, I mean, you don't normally have GHB in baby oil. Yeah, so yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, again, I think he looked at the bill. He didn't like it. And I think it's a good bill. But again, there are things you can criticize about it. Like the president would be very open and say, this is not a perfect bill.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump doesn't get to write the bills, right? Congress has to write the bills.
Okay.
And you got to work with them to try to get something that is as good as possible.
Okay.
So here's what I'll say about the bill. Number one, prevents the biggest tax increase in American history.
It prevents it?
Prevents it. Because taxes are going to go up on everybody in a really big way at the end of 2025 because the old tax law expires at the end of 2025. So you're going to hit a big tax increase. We're trying to prevent that from happening. We're also trying to do stuff. Okay, so you got a lot of people working long overtime hours in this economy. We inherited bad inflation from Joe Biden, so no tax on overtime. No tax on tips, right? We're in Bob Ritchie, we're in Kid Rock's great restaurant. His servers would not have to pay taxes on the hard-earned tips that they get when they're busting their ass doing a good job. So when working for Kid Rock, man, that's hard work, right? So I think that it's a good bill and it does a lot of good for the American people. But like, look, Elon's entitled to his opinion. I'm not saying
this nigga seems more real talking about Donald Trump than himself. Bro, I don't know if I'm just crazy or something.
He has to agree with the bill or agree with everything that I'm saying. I just think it's a huge mistake for the world's wealthiest man. I think one of the most transformational entrepreneurs ever, that's Elon, to be at this war with the world's most powerful man, who I think is doing more to save the country than anybody. I mean, I'm 40 years old, anybody in my lifetime. Think about it. It's a guy who, not even a year ago, nearly took a bullet in the process of campaigning, went back on the horse the next day. And if you look, obviously I'm biased, but you look at what we've done on the border, you look at what we've done with trade, fighting back against a generation of theft of the American dream, which is what the president's trade policies are starting to do. I just think you got to have some respect for him and say, look, yeah, we don't have to agree on every issue. I'm talking about if you're Elon Musk, you don't have to agree with us on every issue, but is this war actually in the interest of the country? I don't think so. So hopefully Elon figures it out, comes back into the fold. I know the president, for a couple days, I'll tell you, just, I don't want to reveal too many confidences, but, was getting a little frustrated, feeling like some of the criticisms were unfair coming from Elon. But I think has been very restrained because the president doesn't think that he needs to be in a blood feud with Elon Musk. And I actually think if Elon chilled out a little bit, everything would be fine.
It would help. Well, Elon also tweeted that he thought that in the second half of this year that there would be the Trump tariffs will cause a
like this nigga's drinking, like, bro, the Celsius bottles are so small. If you don't just grab the entire thing and just chug that bitch, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro.
Recession in the second half of this year. Now, who knows what could cause a recession in the second half of this year? It could be a buildup of our entire just history of being alive. But he's saying this. So it seems like, and this is just me guessing, and I don't know Mr. Musk. I never met Mr. Musk. One time he fed my buddy spaghetti at a party, though, dude. My buddy, people were raging and shit, and
Your buddy couldn't feed himself the spaghetti?
well, my buddy said he offered my buddy some spaghetti, and my buddy said, "Yeah, I'd like to have some." And then
but only if you feed it to me.
But
like it's the president is it's interesting because if you read the media reports, you wouldn't necessarily see this. He's not like quick to temper. Like he's not one of these guys who flies off the handle. That's a little bit more what I'm like, honestly.
Oh, he's
and
smooth.
I think he's smooth, man. He's stoic.
his
and
blood
I think,
pressure is fucking 007, dude. That motherfucker is.
I don't know if that's good, but,
I mean, but it's still,
but yeah, I get what you're saying.
But it is where it is.
But
This nigga's happy to talk about the president of the United States of America. This nigga's more happy talking about the president of the United States than himself. This nigga's too perfect, bro. And it's like he's wearing eyeliner, but that's his lashes.
But I think Elon means the best, but I think he's making a mistake.
Yeah, got it.
That's
Understood.
my view.
And he's even talking. This nigga's
was Doge,
he's such an enigma
Doge
to
helpful?
me.
It was. Yeah, it was. And I mean, look,
He's too handsome.
Doge continues within
Like he's too handsome. He's too perfect.
the White House and within the executive of the country. I mean, look, there's a lot of ways in which we are
And you can tell that he's doing his job because his hairs are gray.
wasting the American people's money.
Yeah.
Sometimes spending it on crazy stuff. Sometimes spending it on like actually counterproductive stuff. I think Doge has saved already at least 170, maybe $200 billion. Hopefully, it's going to save more.
200 billion is insane.
But yeah, I think it was
Bro,
very,
that's
very
so
worthwhile.
much money. How
That's a
could
ton
you?
of
Hey Gemini, how much did Doge save in the American economy?
Okay, so it looks like there's some debate about how much Doge has actually saved. Some sources say it's around 160 billion, while others say that the cuts might have actually cost the economy. It's a bit complicated.
Yeah.
money.
How do they not? How would you not even notice that? If that much money,
There's so much I could tell you about this. Okay, so one of the crazy things we all figured out like first week or so we're in the White House, okay, is there was a payment that should be stopped because the president signed an executive order to stop a payment. And this is like day one of the White House. We're like, okay, how do we stop this payment?
Yeah.
Because somebody's trying to make this payment. And nobody knew where like the computer was that actually wired the money from the U.S. taxpayer to this entity. So, dude, the amount of waste and the amount of just grift in the federal government was off the charts. It's still, it's getting better, but there's still a lot more I think we can find.
who was getting it? I don't know. I don't know one person that was getting something extra. I don't think.
Well,
unless everybody was slurping.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were slurping, man. You look at what. So, for example, there are all these humanitarian programs that we have where we send money for people, for medicine, for food.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but like I think, like what I thought before I got in the government, what most Americans think is okay. So we send $100,000 to this group to buy food for like poor kids in Africa. Okay. And what actually happens is it's not $100,000 that go to the food for the poor kids in Africa.
Right.
That the NGO, the non-government organization that gets that money, contracts it out to somebody else.
Right, so
and
there's
then
a
they
middleman.
subcontract it out to somebody.
There's a
There's like
middleman.
3 or 4 middlemen.
Oh.
And what, Marco Rubio, who's a Secretary of State, he's a very good friend. What he told me is that his best estimate after he had his team look at it is that 88 cents of every dollar was actually being collected by middlemen.
No
So
way.
every dollar we were spending humanitarian assistance, 12 cents was actually making it to people who needed it. That's crazy. So there's a lot of waste, man, a lot of crazy stuff.
That's
So Elon was
insane.
putting in a lot. Was Elon doing it for free all that time?
He was doing it for free. Yeah,
doing it for free.
He was doing it for free. I mean, he doesn't need money, right? That's the one
That's a
thing
good point.
Elon
Right.
does not need.
So was he? I wonder if he was expecting anything from Trump and they just couldn't figure it out. I don't know. I'm just curious about it. I'm kind of like, you start to see how all this stuff kind of works, and just like it's like,
Yeah, I hear. I really do think he's disappointed about the bill. He's he disagrees with some of the things that were in there. He's an emotional guy. Look, it happens to everybody. I've flown off the handle way worse than Elon Musk did in the last 24 hours.
Oh, yeah.
But my hope is comes back, says
I ain't gonna lie. Thank you. To say thank you is hold up. Thank you. Hold up. J.D. Vance saying you better say thank you to Zelensky is crazy work.
Look, made some mistakes.
Let's smooth it
Didn't
out.
mean to say everything. Let's smooth it out and let's all be friends. Because again, like I care about the country, and I think the country's better off if under the president's leadership, Elon's helping us out as opposed to fighting the administration. I don't want him to fight the administration. I know the president doesn't want that, but here we are.
Yeah, he just tweeted a little bit ago that he felt like 80% of the what was that? About a third party or something?
The American Party or some shit.
Oh, sorry, never mind. Okay, then so
Lot
it's
of-
just a
A lot
regular
of tweets today.
just a regular day for Elon. So yeah, he's obviously I mean, he's definitely he gets a bit rogue. Why don't we have
Oh, wait, this is interesting. Go
pull
back.
it up? Let's see it.
This
Yeah, let's take a
post is from
gander.
an account you muted. I'm curious. Who did you mute?
Who is that guy?
Is that yours? It's one of your producers.
Ian Mealis Shong. Oh, it said Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should replace him. Dude, that's one vote.
Oh my God. See, this is what I'm talking about. This stuff is
What are you
just,
talking about? Campaigning?
This stuff is just not helpful. Again,
Yeah. Oh, Twitter is definitely.
And here's look. My first loyalty is to my family, obviously, to the Constitution, but politics is a place where people stab each other in the back.
Yeah.
And you can't get anything done
Indeed.
unless you're all on the same team and you're actually committed to getting stuff done together. I just think like the idea that the president should be impeached is, I'm sorry, it's insane. It's totally insane. The president is doing a good job.
This guy is already impeached. You can't impeach him again because that'd be double jeopardy. Hey, Gemini, can you impeach the president twice?
Yes, a president can be impeached multiple times. It's important to remember that impeachment is like an indictment. It's the formal accusation. Removal from office only happens if the Senate votes to convict after the impeachment process.
Thank you so much, Gemini. Learn something new every day.
And you can look, you're free to disagree with him, right? Everybody has a First Amendment right.
Are you
but-
free to disagree with Trump ever?
Yeah,
Like, do you
of
feel
course.
like you can?
Of course. I mean, the way that I put it is, if I have a disagreement with the president, then it is my job, obviously, to provide the president honest counsel. Like, he doesn't need me to be a doormat. He needs me to actually say what I think about an issue. But when the president makes a decision, man, he's the general. And when the general makes a decision, everybody's got to go and execute that order. And that's kind of how I think about my job,
Right.
really, is to be a good ally and a good friend, provide honest counsel to the president, but also when a decision's made, you go out and get it done.
Does he listen to many people or does he listen to just one or two?
He listens to a ton of people. It's one of the more interesting things about his leadership style is if he's got a big decision to make, he talks to everybody.
Got it.
And I think it's why he's like in touch with normal people is because he doesn't just talk to like congressmen or people with a lot of money. He tries to talk to everybody. Like I've seen him ask the gardener at Mar-a-Lago what he thinks about a particular issue. I've seen him ask the people who work in the kitchen at the White House what they think about an issue. He's constantly trying to understand what other people are thinking.
Oh, I saw him ask a Scottish Terrier what kind of cakes they like, So, yeah, I agree with you. He's definitely always absorbing kind of information.
He is. Yeah.
Nobody needs help spending money. Sometimes it
Type
feels
shit.
like the whole world. The big, beautiful bill. And why are these bills this whole mess of shit? Why is it a gumbo? Why isn't it just one fine soup each time and you vote on each certain thing? I know that's definitely gonna be a novice question, but
No, man, it's a fair question. I think there are a couple. Excuse me. It depends on the Celsius is it's got a lot of caffeine in it, man.
oh,
Jeez.
dude, are
Whoa.
you talking
I'm
about?
getting amped over here.
What are you talking about? Yeah, that's what FDR was on. That's why he left his wife. That thing will definitely.
Well, you see what I'm saying? This nigga's too good at his
FDR loves
job.
Celsius. As everybody knows, his favorite beverage was what is this here? Sparkling orange Celsius.
And that is the most FDR flavor too, to be honest.
Oh man.
Jamie,
Okay.
what kind
Sorry.
of-
what did you ask me? Okay. The big
I
bill.
thought we were
Okay.
supposed to be reading the
All right.
Bible.
Yeah, yeah.
What is this even about?
All right. The bills. Okay.
But the bill, why
So
is
the
it?
big- okay.
Because you always hear every congressman or senator, not everyone, but some of you
Yeah.
hear them like, I just got it. I don't know what happened. I
Yeah.
couldn't read 1,000 pages last night,
Yeah, yeah. So there are different kinds of bills.
Okay.
And I think so. There are things called omnibuses, and
Mm-hmm.
omnibuses are like a million different things.
This Nigga is actually teaching a nigga, bro. Bro, I ain't gonna lie. I like this shit. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's I ain't gonna lie, I like this nigga now. He taught me. I like this nigga now. I only thought it was only one type of bill. Turns out it's multiple. Then the other nigga Cash Patel teaching me about the fucking I think it's con job or some shit. Like, I don't know. It's like a team of people that direct the FBI initiatives or something. I don't even know. But these niggas are teaching a nigga, bro. I'm starting to like this nigga now. I'm gonna be actually for real. So what is an omnibus bill?
Being shoved into one bill, and oftentimes you don't have time to read them. The House of Representatives actually adopted a rule to where they have to get, I think, at least 4 days to actually read it to change this, because people weren't getting time to read the stuff before it got voted on. This particular bill, the way to think about it is basically, if you look at a campaign speech I gave back in September of 2024, and I said we're going to cut taxes on tips, we're going to have no taxes on overtime, we're going to cut taxes on Social Security, you know, we're going to secure the border, we're going to build more border wall, we're going to hire more border patrol agents, like all that, have that kinds of bills. Okay. And I think so. There are things called omnibuses, and
an omnibus bill sounds so unorganized. It sounds what's the word? I don't even know. But it's too general. It's too general. I truly believe if you're working in like the White House, or like even if you're working in the government, you need to be as specific as possible. You need to be as specific as possible. I ain't gonna lie, I don't like omnibus bills.
A bunch of random different stuff. Why don't we just do everything, or at least most of the things that we campaigned on that can be done through legislation, and put it into this bill? Now, that's not saying that there aren't sometimes massive bills that are ridiculous and don't make a ton of sense. There are, but I think this bill, like, you know, there's a political answer to your question too. Okay, so let's just say, I'm not going to name names, I don't want to embarrass anybody, but let's say you've got some Republican congressmen who really love no taxes on tips, but they're a little squishy on the border stuff. They don't agree with what we're doing on the border, okay? Or let's say you got somebody who really loves what we're doing on the border, but they don't necessarily like, you know, they don't want to cut taxes for one reason or another.
Right.
If you take enough of this stuff, of our promises again, and put it together, you say, look, even if you disagree with parts of it, this is what we campaigned on writ large, and so we got to vote on this thing and make it happen. Sorry, there's a final answer to this question, which is stupid and parliamentary, but it matters. It's actually the most important answer is, okay, any bill that you do you got to put it on the floor, and you got to give people enough time to read it, and you got to amend it, and then you got to do.
This nigga is actually laying out the process of passing a bill in the fucking house. Bro, I think I like this nigga, bro. I never knew who Cash Patel was. I'm starting to like him because of the way they talking. It's not it's not elite. I don't feel with Cash Patel specifically. I didn't feel a hint of elitism. You get what I'm saying? I hate the tonality, the elitism tonality, saying all these big ass words and saying all this shit like that. You know, an average nigga don't understand. You get what I'm saying? Cash Patel laid down how it was in FBI. Truly respect that nigga. But J.D. Vance is totally different because he's the vice president. I never paid attention to it. This nigga is like the ghost nigga. He's like a ghost to me. Like, he's always around, but I never truly paid attention to him because I didn't know the nigga. I just knew he was Donald Trump. So I'm like, if he with Donald Trump, he cool. But I had to understand this nigga's his own person. And this is what T.O. Vaughn laid the foundation out for me. That J.D. Vance, he is allied with Donald J. Trump, but he's his own person. At the beginning, he was kind of, you know, weird. And I wouldn't say weird. Like, he just looks too perfect to me. That's it. He looks way too perfect. But, like, the fact he's actually saying how it is actually incredible, bro.
Committee process. And there's like a constant stream of things. There's a big process for it. And so if you went through that process for each individual item, on a separate bill,
Cost
it
prohibitive.
would take over a year to do all these bills. But we gotta prevent taxes from going up. We don't have that much time to do it. We gotta secure the border. We don't have that much time to do it. We've got to do the no tax on Social Security. Like, if we did that 18 months from now in a smaller bill, then we would not be keeping our promises to the American people.
I see. Is there a way?
What do you mean by you don't have enough time, though? What do you mean you don't have any time? What do you mean?
That they can just prioritize those. I wonder. It just feels like it would be so much easier to digest as a regular person.
Yeah.
If you weren't thinking like, well, heck, my guy's got to stay up all night for 600 nights to get all this information in, and to get it in accurately, and then to make fair choices on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer to your question is you could do that, but Congress would have to change its procedures.
And could Congress do that if they voted to do it?
They could.
They could.
But
Okay.
they would need to change their procedures. And, the President's attitude is, we're gonna tell you how to run Congress.
Right.
We're working within the constraints that we have.
Understood.
And we're just trying to get as much done. And look, I mean, people are frustrated with Congress. I get it. People are frustrated with certain things that Congress does. I agree with a lot of those criticisms. We do spend way too much money in this country. Like, it is a reality that we spend too much money. But I don't think those criticisms apply to this particular legislation. Like, one thing I'd ask everybody to say is, okay, so big ugly spending bill, some people are calling it. What is the spending that is done here? The biggest single budgetary item, Theo, in this bill is the money to secure the border. Like, that's not ugly spending. That's like the best kind of spending.
Well, that's a great kind of spending. I think, no, I agree with that. Look, we've had 2 border officials on over the past 4 years, and we've learned about all the infrastructure issues that they face. We've learned about the fact that the executive branch doesn't process any of the, like, they'll apprehend the guys, but then they're not processed. I think it's the executive branch.
Yes, because we don't have the money to do it. Like that's okay.
But they were saying for years, guys would come in and they'd have to catch them every other week because they would, and nobody would prosecute them. So it was just, then it made them feel like they didn't have any value. I know that we're signing like 5,000 new people to work at the border.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know that we're giving a lot of new jobs over there.
That's what we're trying to do, right? Is create enough resources so that you can actually do all the border enforcement that we promised. And like the part that the president got immediate action on, if you think about this, we came in, the president empowered Border Patrol to stop letting people come across the border illegally. That stopped pretty much immediately. You got like a 96% drop in border crossings immediately.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is you got 21 million people in here illegally. You got to send them home. You got to process them. You got to actually, sometimes some of these people, are entitled to some kind of trial for one reason or another. So you've got to like do that. That stuff all costs money. And that's where we don't have money to do it right now. So that's why this bill's necessary.
Did who was that? They just said that. Did Congress have enough time to read this bill? Rep. Thomas Massey said the House has a 72-hour rule which requires the bill to be posted 72 hours before passage. What does that even mean?
Yeah, that's I'd never heard that before. And look, I mean, Thomas Massey and I get along, but my understanding is that the bill text was people have had literally weeks to pass it or to read it. And the reason, okay, here's the criticism I'd give of what Thomas Massey's saying right here is what's going to happen is the Senate has to vote on this bill and then it has to go back to the House. And it may change like 1%, like this like normal TV. So I don't see commercials that often anymore. But it's like MedPAC and it's like order this thing. And
Shout out Bend,
old was
Oregon.
that? Is that 14 years ago?
He's
done more to try to bring this conflict to a close.
Transparency for healthcare, right?
Because you can't expect Americans to pay 10 times for prescription drugs what other people pay. It's also, by the way, not that this is the main issue, but it's bankrupting people and it's bankrupting our country.
Okay, that's it. I ain't gonna lie. This is an eye-opener experience. I mean, I know my opinion really doesn't matter because we'll probably never interact in my lifetime. But I'm kind of warming up to J.D. Vance a bit. He seems pretty cool, and T.O. Vaughn did a very good job of. To me personally, T.O. Vaughn humanized this guy to me, and that means T.O. Vaughn did his job S tier. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, man. Parsi out.